Hey everybody, I have a Chinese medicine tip of the day for you about sleep in the summer. So, we become very attached to recommendations in our culture. Example being water. You have to have X amount of glasses of water. I think it's 8 ounce glasses, the recommendation. And 8 hours of sleep is this across the board recommendation. And become very attached to this, and I hear people say, patients of mine, oh, I get my 8 hours, or oh, I didn't get my 8 hours, and we just become attached to this number. But really, it's not so much about the amount of sleep, it's more about the quality of the sleep. And I'm not a sleep expert by any means, so I'm really just speaking from things that I've read and my own experience, and things that people have taught me. So you go through 3 sleep cycles through the night. We're all familiar with what a REM cycle is, even if we don't quite really understand it. But basically, you spend a certain amount of time going into the REM cycle, you spend a certain amount of time in the REM cycle, and then you spend a certain amount of time coming out of the REM cycle. So it's really imperative that you get those 3 cycles uninterrupted. So a lot of us suffer from tossing and turning, waking up to pee, having a nightmare, whatever it may be, and this sleep cycle becomes disrupted. So in the summer, it is natural to get less sleep because there is an abundance of young energy around us and within us, and the sun is out for much more of the day than it is in the winter, where we want to get more sleep. So it is natural to go to bed a little later and wake up a little earlier, especially if you have a window right where you are in your room where you sleep. So my tip is, from a Chinese medicine perspective, is to not be so attached to this number, this 8 hours, because for you, that might be 6 hours. That might be 7 hours, especially in the summer, it might be closer to 6. So it's easy for us to get in our heads and have a little bit of anxiety around it, or sleep anxiety. Oh, I didn't get my 8 hours, I'm not going to be rested. And that's really just not true. You have to find what works for you and allow yourself to be in tune with the summer by getting a little less sleep. And it doesn't mean that you're not resting adequately. I'm not in any way suggesting you don't sleep or don't prioritize your sleep hygiene and your sleep routine. But really what I'm encouraging you to do is just not be so attached to that number, that 8 hours, that recommendation, and be more in tune with what feels good for you. And if you have the luxury of not setting an alarm in the morning, that is so ideal, because then you come out of that 3rd sleep cycle naturally. So when you wake up with an alarm, it pulls you out at an inorganic time, and that can lead to you waking up feeling disoriented or groggy. And this can be for all sorts of reasons, feeling unrested. But if you come out of a sleep cycle at an unnatural time, that can certainly make you not feel good. So if you can wake up without an alarm, that's really amazing. And I'm lucky enough to do that, and I would never trade that to go back to having to use an alarm. And again, I know that not everyone can do that, but if you can somehow incorporate that into your life in some way, even if it's just on the weekends,